Welcome to a very special 200th episode of the All Pop No Culture podcast. It's me this week, and Andrew and Lauren were both going to be out this week. And with it being the 200th episode, I was going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine and just kind of wax poetic about what it means to have done 200 episodes, which is special to me. I kind of do this for myself more than anything. We don't have a huge subscriber base and we don't have a ton of people watching. For me, it's an opportunity to hang out with my friends, talk, about movies and television, and then, sometimes shoot the shit. And sometimes, when I have to do it alone, I like to keep consistent. I like to make sure that we're not missing a week, and I've been really working on making sure that we haven't missed one. I don't think I've missed one all year, which is saying something. But anyways, last minute yesterday, everybody started talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, and Pete in the group chat said he would be available and said that he could record tonight, which is Sunday night. I usually record on Saturday nights, but I was seeing the movie with my kids on Sunday, and with nobody else around, I figured I would just record by myself on Sunday night. And because Pete was available, we got together and did this episode. And of course, at the end, we ramble a lot and talk about DC and some of that stuff. But for the most part, at first, we stay on track with Deadpool and Wolverine, and then Marvel Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. But what makes this episode really fun, with it being the 200th episode, Pete hasn't been on in a very long time, but Pete is an original member of the All Pop No Culture podcast way back to when it was only an audio only podcast. So our very first episode, funny enough, was a Marvel episode based on Captain Marvel. As an audio only episode of the podcast was way back in 2019, March of 2019. And I don't think we started doing video until 2020 when COVID hit. And so, we were all living near each other, but we didn't have a way to record because of, COVID and restrictions and things like that. So we recorded a few episodes on video, went back to doing audio, and then took a little break. We were kind of inconsistent. When I moved out to the East Coast, we started doing it again, and we started doing it with Zoom, and kind of started really pushing the video podcast. After that, things got choppy for a little while. Andrew came on, and it's been a lot more consistent since then. And now we are at our 200th episode. So it was really fun, I think, to get Pete back. I think if I'd had more time, maybe I would have tried to get Alex and Opie back on to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine also. But it was nice to have a bit of a flashback episode for our 200th episode. If we stay at the pace we're at, in about 2 years, we'll have a 300th episode, and we'll see what happens with that. I just hope that if you're watching, that you enjoy this episode. It was a lot of fun to put together. It was really a lot of fun to just kind of have it be me and Pete, and just to have a good time talking about this stuff and laugh and talk about a really great movie, which was Deadpool and Wolverine. So I hope you enjoy the episode, and here we go. And I totally forgot to say, this episode will be littered with spoilers. If you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, if you haven't seen the Hall H panel or heard about it from San Diego Comic-Con this week, we're talking about stuff from that too. So if you're avoiding spoilers for some reason, skip this episode until you see Deadpool and Wolverine. But the gist is, it's a fantastic movie. Go see it. But now, please jump in with us as we spoil the living hell out of this movie. I thought it was like this odd cosmic thing, because this is actually the 200th episode.
Shut up.
Yeah. And so, like, then when
it is an odd cosmic kind of thing then.
Yeah. And then when you're like, oh, well, I can make it, I was like, well, fuck, that's perfect in its own way, right? Like, I mean, normally I'd say, fuck, no, I don't want that guy anywhere near my stuff. But...
Right, exactly. Face for radio.
Yeah. So
it's oddly fittingly weird and appropriate.
Yeah, especially when you think about our very first episode was Captain Marvel. So, like,
yeah,
we started with Marvel. We're going through a beautiful Marvel renaissance right now. And I think this is a good movie to talk about, because I think it was pretty fucking dope.
Man. Yeah, just jumping right in. So Soph and I went, and she had not seen the other two until just last week. I
Okay.
was like, hey, do you want to go see this with me? I talked about going with Mike, but he's taking Grace on a to go see it. So I was like, okay, do you want to go? She's like, we haven't been to like a Marvel movie together in a while. Let's make it work. And so we bought tickets and we sat down and we watched the first two. So those were still fresh in my head.
Mhm.
And just going back to those two, they're still easily the two of them. Both of those movies are easily in the top 10 Marvel movies. In my opinion. I would have both of those in there because I think they're their own separate special little thing,
Mhm.
but they're I mean realistically both of those movies were pretty fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Like
I
really in terms of the level of fanboy that you
yeah.
get and also just making it accessible for someone who's just like, well, I know this Deadpool guy is da 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 da. So, um, from the fucking jump in the credits, the in sync bye 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 thing
It's so
to
freaking amazing.
he does it perfect. I mean, I like, I technically actually if I can do that choreography still most of it. I'm ashamed to admit, but the so he's digging the hole, and it's obvious it's the Logan
Yeah.
grave,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, and things are going through your head, and you're like, oh, um, it's gonna be some Frankenstein thing, how is he
Mhm.
gonna do this? And within 5 minutes, he's just slaughtering dudes with the bones of Wolverine.
Yeah. Yes.
Like it's just like at one point I think he like stuck a femur through a guy's head
Oh,
or something.
yeah.
Like they were like it was
Everything through everyone.
um yeah, I was in
Yeah.
hooked from the jump. Soph and I were giggling our asses off. It's so, and this is for me, this is the theme of this movie. This is so fucking ridiculous, but somehow it works, and it's just the most. I don't want to say the most amazing film I've ever seen, but it's probably one of the best buddy action, like
Yeah.
you know,
Was it Sean Levy said one of his inspirations is trains, planes, and automobiles.
oh,
So, yeah.
you actually, in a weird way, you
Hmm.
actually get that vibe.
For
Okay,
sure.
so I have a feeling we're just going to jump around here because you said trains, planes. The fight choreography in this fucking
Oh,
movie,
it's great.
dude, the fight in the minivan. Are you out
It's
of your
so awesome.
fucking mind? Like that, like just and I love that it gets to it. And I didn't obviously count the buckles to make sure it was accurate, but there were so many moments in this film that I was like, oh, that's a comic book panel.
Hmm.
Like
For
that's
sure.
straight up like when they pan up after they're fighting and they like pan down the coexist button
Hmm.
and day turns into night and they pan back up and he's all tied up.
Yep.
Like that looked like something that Lee Field drew.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, like it was nutty. Um, yeah, I can't like I said, just jumping all around. I don't want to dive into the cameos
Oh,
too quick.
we can at some point for sure.
Oh
Because there's a ton of them. But yeah, I mean, the opening sequence is fantastic because you've got the whole thing, and then you've got him sitting there just with the skeleton,
yeah,
which was fucking just hilarious. And then and then
I
they
like the one thing they didn't do, which I was expecting him to do, but he didn't. See, I mean, I know he makes it kind of talk in one section. I kept waiting for him to like
head puppet him.
puppeteer the
Yeah,
skeleton, and they didn't. And I was actually kind of good with that
yeah,
because even though that would be a very on the nose Deadpool kind of joke, they're like,
yeah,
that's been done.
yeah. I
Yeah,
like he did when he did the Australian accent, like he kind of moved his mouth up and down.
yeah.
Um, but I liked more that the head stayed attached and he actually uses the whole spine and the head as a weapon. Like it was just that whole sequence was fantastic. And then I love that they did the Deadpool 1, Deadpool 2 thing where they take a jump back in time and then set up the story that they're telling. Um,
Yes.
it's interesting because going to this movie, I went with all three of my boys, and my middle one, who is the more, I don't know if crass is the right word, but definitely the more like teenage boy of all of them.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm worried that Deadpool isn't going to be as Deadpool because this is MCU and Disney. And I was like, give it a chance. They've said they're going to go with it, and I mean, they did. They pulled zero punches. Like this is 100%
No.
a Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it is an MCU movie, but it's not MCUified. Like it's not. They didn't tone it down at all, and they kind of kept it um, where it
It's
belonged.
not at all family friendly,
Oh no, no.
if you
Um,
will. Like
it. I mean, nobody's actually taking a strap on in the ass like like he did in the
in
first
the
one.
first one, yeah.
But yeah, I mean the language they throw out the f bombs pretty judiciously in the first like 10 minutes.
Just
So
yeah.
like they're like we are hard R. Let's go. And the bloodshed. And I like that they did it on a white background, right? So you've got blood in the
Oh.
white background everywhere. It was really really
So
great.
so we saw it in a theater that I hadn't seen it before because we went out to the Regal in Hacienda. So it has like an IMAX, an
Hmm.
RPX, the Screen X, and one other one that's just like it's just like a wider screen with better sound. And that's the one that I thought was Screen X, and that's the one I thought I was signing up for. So the Screen X experience is there's actually like four projectors in the theater. And what they do is you've got your main screen, but then two-thirds of the walls on either side are also covered in projection screens. So they
Hmm.
actually projected that entire opening scene in the snow with all the birches and everything else. That entire thing was extended almost like it was giant 70 millimeter format, like around, like almost wrapping us around. We were almost dead center in the theater. It doesn't do it for all of it. At first, it was very disconcerting. I will say, um, if I was like just totally stoned out of my mind, you could watch the little intro thing that it does. Like you can remember the THX, like how
Yeah,
we all love
yeah.
that. Okay, so the intro thing for this, the way they do it, and like the little like lasery kind of things and patterns and all this bullshit that flies around, it's like you're looking at it, I'm like, okay, this is some dope shit. Like if I was on mushrooms right now, I'd be fucked off for like a while. Like that just it's like amazing art that they put up there. But it's at first it was distracting. As the film went on, it doesn't use it all the time, which was good. And it kind of, you just kind of got used to it. I don't know if I'd want to see a movie like that again.
Hmm.
That Screen X thing, like it didn't detract anything from the experience to this, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And now that I've seen it, eh,
Sounds
it,
perfect for a
I,
rom-com.
yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, just visually, that contrast, that stark white, on the red and the blood, and
Yeah,
it was just
and I went today, so this is Sunday.
okay.
Where I live, I haven't been to a sold out theater yet. I
Okay.
don't know if this one was sold out, but it was damn close. And the audience was great. I mean, they were laughing, like everybody
Oh,
was
we had a good
involved.
audience
Like,
too. Yeah.
yeah, definitely helped. I mean, take away from the actual movie itself. This is the highest grossing R-rated film ever. It's almost
Opening
half a
weekend
billion
ever.
dollars
Yeah.
already. Like it's insane. So everybody that wanted to say the Marvel is dead, I think you got another thing coming. I think they did a good job here. Again, this is like and maybe it's the time of the year, but this is like Barbenheimer where there was so much hype around this thing that it was going to do well, even if people didn't love it necessarily. But pretty much across the board, people love it.
Critics tended to love it too. There's some standout like things that people said. Like there was one of the first original detractors that I read was saying that it wasn't heavy on the plot, and that it was really just if you wanted to watch Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman like
Yeah.
fanboy with each other for 2 hours. That is a valid argument,
Hmm.
but to that I also say eat a dick, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to Deadpool movie for anyway.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. Like that's the thing. I got absolutely as a even a casual fan of the comics and Wolverine and Deadpool in the comics, but a decent fan of both of them in the animated series and on the screen. I was so thrilled with this film.
Hmm.
It hit all the bases.
Yeah, I thought it was perfect, for what it was, and it's funny that that was the critique because at one point, like watching the movie, part of me, I was like, What's the actual point? Like, what does this have to
Yeah.
do with anything?" Like, and then it kicks into high gear, and you're like, "Who gives a shit?" Like, it doesn't necessarily reset anything. It doesn't really
No.
change anything in the MCU. It ties a few things together. You have the TVA, you have these other things, but like you don't need it to move Marvel forward other than at the box office.
No, but what I but and this is what I said. This is what I predicted this movie was going to do, and I feel like in a way it did that. I said this movie was going to be the kickoff to the mutants in the MCU.
Mhm.
That when they've talked about multiverses and talked about this, and you acknowledge and they talk about they acknowledge that there's Avengers. Like he wants to be an Avenger. The scene with Happy was fucking
That
hilarious.
was great.
That just
Um,
too funny. I loved it when he gets back to the apartment with Big Al and they're and like the list of
oh
cocaine
yeah,
because it's the
different
only
cocaine
movie that he had.
references. So awesome.
You know, and again, I heard another critic say there was too much fourth wall breaking, and I was like, no, actually, it was perfect. I
Yeah,
thought there was the perfect amount.
and pick up a
I,
Deadpool comic. I mean, sorry, that's the character. Like,
yeah,
it's for all the people
that's
that
what
had
he
the problem with
does.
She-Hulk too. I'm like, if that's what you
Ah,
have the problem with, then you don't get it.
I really feel like this does kind of help us start to segue into the mutant, the
Hmm.
mutant era of the MCU and acknowledging, boom, it exists. We exist in the same world, right?
Hmm.
Um, the and we'll get more into this. I have a feeling when we get to the cameos.
Hmm.
This was such a love letter to closing some storylines and some whatever happened to kind of stuff that
Yep.
we had from other things that's why I said like that little montage that they do at the end,
Yeah, that's so great.
the mid credit one. When I
Hmm.
watched that, I was like, okay, this is saying goodbye to
Yeah.
this
This
is
is
what it's
this is the
saying, like
official,
this
like,
timeline is
yeah.
done,
To
but
the
it's
point,
here, but we're
I think
slate.
at the end, even after they showed the Marvel and everything logo, they actually one more time put up the Fox, 20th Century Fox logo one last time at the end too.
Yes.
Like they really were like acknowledging this thing that happened, that even though it wasn't necessarily part of the MCU, we may not have the MCU without these things.
And it was so fucking crazy to me that of all the movies they do this in, but it's probably the only movie they could do it in, was Deadpool, where he's actually treating something like that with his tongue-in-cheek
Oh
reverence
yeah.
in saying that. Like, but then I thought about it, and I was like, okay, they could have done it in Multiverse of Madness, because because
No, they
we
did to a
played with all
degree.
that,
They
we have
brought a
that.
few
They did,
people in. Yeah.
but this just like the TVA shit worked just as well as it worked in
Hmm.
Loki. Like it didn't, I'm forgetting the guy's name now.
Paradox.
Paradox, that's what it is. He was perfect. Absolutely perfect. He
Yeah, he
was the
was great.
smarmy British thing. And we all knew from the jump, I mean, not to sound stupid, but it's a Deadpool kind of thing to go, the dude with the smarmy British accent is
Yeah.
going to be the fucking bad guy.
Yeah, I think he
Like,
actually makes that comment in the first one when dude is a bad guy.
he may
Yeah.
he exactly may have. I like that they also had him and Vanessa broken up.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool because I also thought that kind of, even though in theory his ultimate goal was to be, to be liked and we got the sympathetic Deadpool in this one.
Yeah.
I think because he wasn't with Vanessa and because she wasn't the major motivating factor behind the movie, they kind of got to unhandcuff him to a degree in a different way.
Yeah,
Um,
that was an interesting thing for me too. Is like there are people that were key in Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 that show up and then you're done with them. Like
Yeah.
you got Colossus, you've got Negasonic Teenage Warhead, you've got
Teenage.
Yumiko.
Kimiko!
So fucking hi Yumiko.
Bye, bye.
Bye, Yukio.
And
Every time, dude.
yeah, every time it's awesome. And they all show up, even Blind Al, and then they're like,
Yes.
cool, we'll get back to you later. Like they're not the
Yeah.
driving force of this one the way they were in the first two. And
Yeah.
you know, I think if it wasn't done so well, that would make it feel like less of a Deadpool movie. But because the movie was done so well, it doesn't really matter, and you get them back at the end.
And I think they also gave you enough of a good ensemble
Mhm.
still surrounding him throughout the film before
Yeah,
we get back to the end that you almost don't mind. Because you still need, even with Deadpool, he still needs to really move, and obviously to move a story forward, but to really have something there, he really does need something going on around him.
yeah,
You could legitimately, and I think they'd probably have done an issue of Deadpool where it is literally just Deadpool breaking the fourth wall or walking and doing stupid shit, like almost like the Looney Tunes episode where like Daffy Duck is like breaking the fourth wall and acknowledging the artist, so the guy like
mhm.
erases him, and
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. Like I could see them actually doing that in Deadpool, so that would work. Anyway, I digress. It all pieced itself together perfectly. Like I really was, because I read that one review. I wasn't worried because I knew I was going to love it, but I was like,
Yeah.
okay, is it too light on plot? Because because Feige had said, if in terms of impact in the MCU, if Endgame is a 10, and I forgot what he said was a 9, he's all Deadpool's an 8, and didn't understand that until we got into it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean,
so
there's a lot of possibilities did come out of it. I mean, obviously the TVA can still bounce around through these things, so the TVA is still a factor. I don't know what happened to Cassandra Nova's sling ring at the end of this thing, but that thing is potentially out there, or at least could potentially be remade.
uh-huh,
Knowing how they made that, so because it had a time stone, and is it the Reality Stone, the red one?
I think so, yeah.
Those are both on there. Um, and so, it's something that could totally be remade or found or whatever. So it certainly opens a ton of possibilities, and they used it to full effect in this um,
Yeah.
pretty early on when he starts looking for his Wolverine, or for a new Wolverine,
Okay,
which
that is the first segment in the movie that absolutely blew my mind with how much they said, okay, you know what? Because Ryan keeps joking about the fact that he's been Wolverine for 20 years and they're gonna
Mhm.
make him do it till he's 90. Like that joke crops up. Yes, they have, but at the same time, there's so much Wolverine that we hadn't seen
Oh yeah.
from the comics that it was like, oh, I would have loved to see Patch, and boom, he finds him in Madripoor. He's there in the white tux.
Well,
He's
I
playing. He's got
I
the
love that the first one was comic accurate Wolverine. He jumps off the stool and he's like 5'4", and like
that
everything
was
about him was
great.
just too small. I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's
That was
hilarious.
so funny. And he
Yeah.
just walked. He was like, "No, no,
Yeah.
no,
He's
no,
like,
no," and
mm
just went out the
no.
door. Yeah, that was hilarious to me. We had, I forget what they call him, not Savage Wolverine, but when he's
Yeah.
got
From
when he's missing a
Apocalypse or
hand.
whatever. Yeah.
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 Um, then we got, and he even points it out, the orange costume
Yeah.
that looked,
With
that looked great.
yeah, that one's
Um,
awesome. With the Hulk in there.
oh yeah, yes, I know. Didn't you wear this when you fought the? Oh,
Yeah. And he gets smacked by
which
the
is
Hulk.
great because that's actually in one of the only really good Marvel animated units is Wolverine versus the Hulk, and Deadpool's in that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I didn't know Deadpool
Um,
was in that one, but yeah. Well,
yeah.
I don't think I have it anymore, but I'm pretty sure I had that cover, the Todd McFarlane
Oh,
cover
it's
of
awesome.
Wolverine with the Hulk. And they like, I love that they did that shot. Like his face reflected in the blades and everything, that was taken 100% from the comics. Absolutely
Oh
brilliant.
yeah. And then he finally finds this Wolverine. I'm trying to think, were there any other Wolverines that I was like,
Thought there was one more. They did Patch, they did Little Wolverine, they did Cavalrine, which I didn't know was coming. I think that was the only the only cameo that actually like surprised me because I think I'd heard over time
oh,
of everybody else, but I didn't know Cavill was in it. And so when he turned around and he was Wolverine, I was like, fuck yeah, that's
that
awesome.
was hilarious. Oh, it was
Yeah.
great. And that was again that fanboy of, you know what, there was always talk of him being it, you know, and Andrew had said to me that he wanted it because of the way they did it. At least they gave us this and not Ratcliffe too. Like, it would be
Mhm.
cool if we had had a Daniel Radcliffe, just because that was also always out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
That would have been fun, but I think Cavalrine was a little better.
I think
like
it
that
was
idea.
it felt more out of left field, which made it even funnier. And then the whole line
Yes.
about how why don't you come join us because we'll treat you better than the guys down
Treat
the
better
street.
ladies.
I was like, oh damn. I was like, they
Oh
threw
yeah.
down right there.
You know what
Uh,
though? At the same time, I have no doubt that James Gunn got an early trailer or
oh,
early
I'm
viewing of
sure. I'm
Deadpool,
sure.
and that line came out, that whole little section came out, and he giggled his fucking
Oh,
ass off. James
100%.
Gunn, of all
100%.
people, saw that and went, "Oh, that was
Yeah, nicely done.
Ace's
We'll get
fella."
back to you. Like that
Yeah, it was like that was good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh
like
the the other Wolverine was the Wolverine on the X that when he was tied up
yes,
that was from was that one of the Chris Claremont runs? Um but that one's pretty crazy. But I like that one where he's just like, nah, we're in two different places, but man, I can't. And he just takes off. Like
uh,
uh
yeah, that was absolutely perfect. The only thing I didn't, and I don't know if they address it or he just says he ran out of power, but the fact that he was still wearing Cable's time slipper,
yeah.
but never used it. I don't know if it's just out of power, like that's how they did it.
Yeah, because at some point he says like he says he doesn't have it anymore, but they showed
Yeah,
him with it not too long before that. So that was the only like kind of gotcha in
yeah,
there
thing that I was
that I
like,
noticed. Yeah. It would make sense if it was out of power. Like if you watch Deadpool 2, he's only got a certain number of charges that it can do,
yeah,
and he uses the living shit out of it to kind of retcon a lot of stuff at the end of Deadpool 2.
that fucking
Uh,
movie. Oh my god.
yeah. Uh, I love that the most important person to survive from that was Peter. So
Still, like, I
good.
like that Shatterstar was there.
Yeah, yeah, but it didn't
Like
matter.
in the
Like
thing,
it
like
was
you
just
see,
kind
it
of
didn't
yeah,
matter. He didn't care, you know, because Shatterstar was always one of those that I was like, when if they ever get that guy on the screen, he only really kind of works if he's in the Mojo verse. Like, it's
yeah,
if it's just a mutant dude, you're like,
yeah,
no, like you have to. The whole Mojo verse thing has to be there for Shatterstar to make any goddamn sense.
yeah,
I wanted Domino to come back. Or
yeah. That would have been cool.
yeah, she was good. Zazie B, that she in the second one was like, and I
She
know,
was
I
just so
remember we talked
cool.
about this in
She
the
was
second,
just so cool.
and that segment, that entire car chase segment, when they joke about, like, you know, what is your superpower, luck, and just the way they do it. Anyway,
Yeah,
that's a movie from fucking like 10 years ago.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so that, I mean, that basically brings us to, you know, we got all the TVA action. He finds his Wolverine,
yep,
and that brings us back to then them getting sent to the fucking void.
yep,
And that's where we get the first of our kind of deep cut cameos for fans, where you're like, holy shit, because we've got Pyro from X1. We've
yep,
got Toad from X1, played by the actual
yeah. By
actors,
the same
which was
actors.
still impressive. You know,
Yep, and
that was
then
actually Ray Park.
yep, and Sabretooth
You
was the
had
guy.
Sabretooth was the guy. That was awesome. He just, you know, like, well, first, oh yeah, first we have the absolutely kick-ass fight
Oh, but
between
yeah,
Wolverine and Deadpool with swords and blades. That was like, again, this was like, I think this was the perfect way to send Wolverine out too, because we saw it in Logan, but we really didn't get that completely uncaged Wolverine.
yeah. Yeah,
And
and it's
this time
somebody that he can
around,
continue to fight. Like that's what made the minivan scene later great is that it literally like takes hours. Like we don't see it all, obviously, but it just goes for hours until they like literally fall asleep. It's like letting your like letting your kittens just fight each other in their little crate until they
Exactly.
fall asleep. You know?
That fight was great, and then it leads to, I love how they had him go down on all fours
Mhm.
to attack Sabretooth.
Yep.
Like that was a nice little touch. The and then he hypes up the whole idea, is like, this is a fight the fans have been waiting for. Strap in, everybody, and it's just one
And just right across the neck, head
Sabretooth's
falls
head
off.
dropped. You're like, oh.
And then he does the whole Furiosa thing because he thinks he's in Mad Max.
That was hilarious.
That was awesome.
Those are great. We're gonna get sued for copyright infringement here, but they still kept going
Yeah.
on with it. It was so dumb. Again, it was at that point where this movie is so fucking ridiculous.
And it's so
But-
meta. Like it just points out like
Oh,
everything everywhere. Because they're having this fight in front of a half-buried Fox Studio logo, right?
yes,
Like
the whole time.
yeah.
I mean, then they get taken to Nova's camp, and dude, the whole
Well, you forgot Chris Evans.
Oh yeah, that's right. This is our first cameo. Oh my god,
big cameo, yeah.
So he pops up, and you hear the voice, and everybody in the
Yeah,
entire theater, our entire
yeah.
theater was like, "What?" No, like everybody's making noise. My dog, Soph's grabbing me. She's like, "No, no," and I'm sitting there. I'm like, "There's no fucking way."
Yeah,
they
I was
got
like,
Chris
it's not
Evans for
Cap.
this.
It's not Cap. Like I can tell it's Chris Evans, but I'm like,
I'm
it
like,
has
but
to be
Cap-
Johnny Storm.
I'm like, it's got to be something. Johnny Storm didn't even click into my head at first. I completely forgot that he had played Johnny Storm. And so all of a sudden, when he does it, he's like, "Flame on." I was like, oh my God. Our entire theater erupted in applause
Yep.
and laughter. And this is definitely one of those movies where if you're listening to this right now and you are for some reason on the fence, toddle your ass out of your house. Go see this in the theater. See it with a lot of people.
I was gonna say as soon as you can, because the audience definitely helps.
Yeah, we're actually probably going to go see it again this week with one of Soph's friends and her dad.
Yeah.
It's so yeah, Chris Evans. They've got him under that cloth, and you hear the voice, and he's even the way he lands.
Yeah, it is the superhero landing. He's like, oh.
And then he goes, and Pyro sucks the flame out of him, and he does that ridiculous fall, and like you think he's dead. Like
yeah, for sure.
And then he's in the cage, and we find out we're going somewhere else because they now capture Wolverine.
That reminds me, did you stay through all the credits?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you a story about that when we get to the end too, because it's fun.
Yeah, I'd love to, because I knew. I was like, no. It's a Marvel movie until it's gone. I'm staying.
Yeah.
Because you just never know. Especially when you see it opening weekend and you're trying to avoid all spoilers whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
wasn't looking at anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just that whole Mad Max vibe of the void that they give it. And then I said, "Oh yeah, the Red Skull's car."
Yes, it was awesome.
That was the total. Yeah, I was
but
like,
if you look at it, it's got the flames painted on the side from Tony Stark's car, and the hood ornament is actually Tony Stark's helmet.
Oh
yeah. So it's like in whatever universe
nice.
that was from. Like Tony bought it after World War II or whatever and turned it into his own hot rod.
That's crazy. Oh yeah, there's all stuff like there was one of the helicarriers in the background, like crashing the thing. It was the same. I mean, if you watched Loki, it was the same void. Like I felt like I was in the same place. So we get to her camp, and
there's a ton of cameos there too that are quick and short.
Oh,
you had Lady Deathstrike. They had a different Psylocke.
Yes. Yeah, Olivia Munn didn't come and do it.
The
guy
Juggernaut was different.
Was not Vinnie Jones.
Yeah.
Because Vinnie Jones did that because that was at the height of like his popularity, because he was coming off of all the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He was almost like a very illiterate Jason Statham.
Yep.
It was kind of like what he was.
Yeah, he was the big thug.
Yeah, so it and and this is why Andrew and I and this is why I told Andrew why I get X3, and it's not a horrible movie, but that the juggernaut in that movie just took me
Yeah.
so out of it, which is why I absolutely love the juggernaut in
In
Deadpool
Deadpool
2,
2.
not to go back to that again,
Yeah.
because it was perfect. Like that's what Juggernaut was. He was massive. It's like the Hulk. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you
he's
know,
supposed to be huge, like ridiculously big.
so that I was like, of course it's gonna be a CGI dude. Um, so yeah, we get to the camp. I absolutely loved the Ant-Man's
Yep.
helmet coming up. Like that shit was nuts. I was like, they've literally turned this dude's body into like
Into a
their
fortress.
fortress.
I love too that they Paul Rudd finally aged.
He's and that's I can't even remember him. That is why I will be happy when it comes out on Disney Plus or whatever streaming, so I can watch it at home again and really absorb a lot of it.
Yeah,
Because there was so much of it in all of it. He's just so quick, and they throw him
yeah.
out.
There was one relatively early on where they were fighting and Wolverine either hits him in the ass or hits him in the nuts or something. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to tell Blake," you know, talking about his own
Yes,
wife, right? Like it's just, and then there's another line where it was fucked up, but he says something like he really let himself go after the divorce. And I was like, damn,
yes,
dude. I was like,
and Hugh
whoa,
Grant, like yeah, or Hugh Grant, uh,
Hugh Jackman.
yeah, um, that was when his shirt finally comes
Oh,
off later on when the topper
yeah,
and just the way they do it, you're just like,
yeah.
oh my god, it's disgusting that you're in your that you're like 50
I
and you
think he's
look
like
like that.
85 or something. And he's just crazy
Yeah.
fit. It's stupid. Um,
um
but
yeah, but that
yeah,
whole camp scene when she like sucks his fucking skin off
and then
because
just
Deadpool basically sold him out.
yeah, like big time.
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I wasn't like Nova and that whole idea. That was very like tertiary for me. I don't really
Mm,
remember that
yeah.
that storyline, the comic, or that character, and I kind of liked that because then I didn't have any preconceived notions of what this bad guy was going to be like.
Yeah.
You know,
She's really like, what if Charles Xavier was bad? Like, sh she can do pretty much the same things that he can do, just not as a good person.
that effect that they do, the CGI with her reaching in with
Hmm.
her hands and playing with it, that was so well done
Yeah.
and so like creepy and cool, and at the same time like kind of gut churning. You're like, god, that is so fucking weird, but it's like, she's like, her fingers are sticking out of the dude's head, like it's just
Yeah.
nuts. I do love, I love the MacGuffin in the fucking timeline killer
Hmm.
machine that Paradox is building, and how she has basically cut a deal to have her own little world
Yeah. Yeah. Like
here
she's
that she
Queen of the Void,
controls.
basically. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there are any other in-camp cameos. I'm trying to place where the dude with the red striped shirt was from. That's the
He's
only
the
one
Russian.
that I
He's
was
a bad
like,
guy from the Punisher.
oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. And it's one of the cameos is talking about when they talk about the Punisher.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And then there was one more guy. I think it's Azazel. I think the red, kind of like the
yeah, that's
red
right. That's right.
red
Yeah.
version
Oh
of
no. So is the not Wasp, but Fairy or whatever it was, the same from the same movie.
Mhm.
The chick that went off with Azazel and them. She was the girl with the stripper with the wings.
Mhm.
I forget her character name from First Class.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember her
And
name either, but
she was in there too. Again, I'm gonna that's one I know when it comes home and I can watch it at home. I'm gonna be like, pause. I'm like, who the fuck else
yeah, yeah, big time. Like I feel like there's
in here?
and in the void, like there's all kinds of stuff
Oh,
just kind of scattered around that you can see. But yeah, that was all good. And then I think what they escaped on was, I think, one of the feet from the
a Sentinel,
no, I
wasn't it?
think it
I
was
thought.
from Iron Man, the first Iron Man. the suit that what's his face makes.
Oh,
But yeah, the one that he fights at the end of the movie, the
the
bigger
one
one.
Obadiah.
Yeah, there you go. The
Yeah,
one that
the
Obadiah
one that
makes.
Obadiah Stane makes, whatever that
Yeah.
model is. Yeah, could be.
Yeah,
Could
because
be. That'll be
the rocket effect of it felt the same, or looked and sounded the same.
I have a feeling there's going to be somebody's going to break every little thing down at some point as soon as this movie once it gives it a week. I think I'm actually impressed. I look at at least in my feed and along stuff, there's not a lot of people and not a lot of news sources are handing a ton of spoilers,
Yeah, you
which
actually
is
have to look for
kind of
them.
nice. Yeah, I usually don't care about them in this movie, and we're about to get right to it with this because they escape on the leg. In this movie, the spoilers of these cameos and what it meant and who and what they were, I'm actually glad that I didn't know anything about it. Like, I knew the one we all knew that was there because that was already, it was leaked, and we knew X-23 was going to show up. We knew
Yep.
Lauer was
Yep.
going to show up at some point, which is when they're in this cave
Yeah.
that they find their way into, and I saw that female boot
Yeah.
walk in. I was like, cool, here we go. And time I done them all. This is Lauer. We get, because she's never seen Logan.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've got to. So I'm like, okay, we've got to see Logan. You got to see this. And it pans up, and it's Jennifer goddamn Garner as Elektra, and I was like, shut the fuck up.
That was awesome.
Oh my god. And you're looking at it, you're like, oh shit, that's right, that Elektra movie, like, she was going to be like, this is before there was like an MCU.
Yep.
This is where that little Daredevil boots on the ground universe was going to be, that Sony was working on to tie into their whole Spider-Man shit.
So when we're in there, we meet Elektra. We're meeting all the other cameos too, but there's a line in there where they say something about, oh, Deadpool died, and she's like, oh no, that's okay, because that was Ben Affleck back when they were married. And
Yes.
I was like, damn, dude, like, it's just one of those throwaway lines that he's got that like is a deep cut, like, and a dig, like it's a hard dig, and it's just hilarious. And then and if you don't know the context, it doesn't matter, you just keep going. But it was so good.
That's another I don't want to say theme of this movie. This movie is completely accessible, like I said, to the casual fan, or even someone who has never seen a Deadpool movie. They will now go back and watch the first two.
Yeah, for sure.
But there is so much fan service in this movie. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's evidenced by the next cameo, because as we're done talking to Elektra, who should walk out from around the corner but Wesley fucking Snipes as Blade?
Awesome.
I have told people, the few people I've talked to about this that are like I think I texted you the same thing. I might not have commented on it in the group text, but if I told you the cameos and who showed up and who was, you wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
If I said, oh yeah, because everybody knew, like, we all knew Toad, because we said, like, in the preview we saw that you saw Toad.
Yeah, you saw a lot of those guys.
So we knew those were going to be there, and so you were already kind of like, oh, cool, dude. If I told you Toad was going to be there, Blade, and Wesley Snipes as Blade.
That's the thing, because in Blade 3 they didn't get along. Ryan Reynolds and
at all.
Wesley Snipes did not get along.
No, and I
which
love
they make a joke about. They make a joke about too.
Yeah. And if you look at it, and this was, again, and I'd have to look at the timeline to see which came first, Blade 3 or the Wolverine movie. Blade 3, overall, it wasn't good. It wasn't that bad. Ryan Reynolds was basically the early version, like an early version of Deadpool in that movie. If you go back and watch Hannibal King, like, that is, we're already seeing Ryan Reynolds doing the beginning of Deadpool. Yeah, to the fact that he and Wesley Snipes were on the same set again, and he did. I think Wesley Snipes is also happy to do it because he needs some work that's fun like this, and this was a major exposure.
Yeah, well, and too, like, off topic a little bit, but Friday night at San Diego Comic-Con, which we'll talk about Saturday night later, but Friday night they actually in Hall H watched Deadpool and Wolverine. So if you were in there, they aired the whole movie, and then they brought the cast out on stage, and they brought a bunch of the cameos out on the stage. So I think
Oh,
Chris Evans was there, but Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds were there, and like they hugged on stage, like even if it was
yeah,
strictly professional, like they've at least made up a little bit. And so like it's kind of cool that that they're working that stuff out.
yeah.
Um, but after Blade came one of my favorite fucking cameos because it's so out of left field that there's no way, if you don't know the backstory, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But Channing Tatum as Gambit was fucking awesome. I was dying, dude.
God
But
damn it. It was so funny because he- just the way he does that horrible
oh,
fucking
it's
accent.
so bad. And he's like, what? Who is your dialect coach? He's like, what are you saying?
Oh, it
Uh,
was so good. And the costume was so perfectly goofy.
oh,
But
it was like comic accurate for sure. And for anybody listening or watching that doesn't understand the reference,
yeah,
Channing Tatum wanted to play Gambit like 1,000 times over. They cast somebody else in one of the X-Men movies to play
Taylor
Gambit.
Kitsch. Yeah.
That's right.
And it was a tiny little role.
Yeah.
But
And then um Channing Tatum we're actually working on a film. Like he almost had his Gambit film, and the Disney bought Fox and they scrapped it. And
yep.
so like there's a couple of jokes in there where he's like, I don't even know if I exist. Like it's
Yes. Oh, yeah.
so funny.
Uh, and they do the charged cards and his
Hmm.
staff so perfectly.
Yeah.
Because it makes you realize, yeah, that's why he is kind of a badass. Like that's why he was able to deal with Rogue.
Well,
Because
and
he
that's why he was. Did you watch X-Men 97, the cartoon?
Yeah. No, I haven't watched all of it yet. I've only gotten through the first 3 episodes.
Okay, well, episode 5, I'm not going to spoil it if you don't know about it, but has the
Okay.
best Gambit moment I've ever seen.
Okay, cool.
So, um,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
it's tough
awesome.
because the kids and the wife, everybody's home now. So on the days when I usually like get to chew through TV and things like that, I haven't
Yeah,
had that
yeah,
time yet.
they're
So
just in the
like,
way, so annoying, so thoughtless,
but yeah, dude, the Gambit, yeah, that was absolutely perfect.
so great. And
Like again, and
yeah, and I love that it
and
was
somebody,
ridiculous, but it was
oh
still worked.
yes, exactly, and that's the whole. That's like I said, that's I felt like the running theme through this entire movie was we're going to throw something even more fucking ridiculous than we just did at you, and we're just gonna keep throwing ridiculous shit at you. And
And it's going to work.
yes,
Like,
all the stuff with Nova was awesome. The
mhm,
way it's I don't want to say simple CGI, but they use their effects budget in this film very, very well.
mhm. Yeah, and
Like
this I think is the
what
first
they.
time they had a real budget too.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
have to look up and see what the actual budget was, but whatever it was worth it for the amount of money they made this weekend
Oh
alone. So
yeah.
I think they're going to be fine. I don't think this movie was hammered with reshoots either. Like I don't think it
No.
was a difficult production. So yeah, whatever they spent was well worth it.
Yeah. Um just like when she takes Wolverine and she like dumps him underground
Yeah,
and like slides him to the
yeah.
ground. You're like,
It's like, oh,
Jesus.
okay, well, fuck that guy. Like he's like growing up, like Wolverine's like the baddest dude there is, right? Like, so, and she just like get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and that and what and well that's the other thing that's cool about that is that you then also realize like how kind of cool Professor Xavier actually was that he never because all of a sudden you start realizing you're like, oh shit, that's right. Chuck was that powerful.
Oh
And
yeah, like
like
he was the baddest dude in town, and he just happened to be super nice.
but yeah, so God, so then we've got
Then we have
at that point
X-23.
X-23. Look for
Yeah,
more, way more from this girl than we've seen yet
because she's what
in a lot of
19, 20
diverse
now.
roles. Yeah, if that, I
Um,
don't think, and
and
she's done a few things, but not
well,
that
she did
much.
the Acolyte. She's in the first couple episodes of the Acolyte.
Okay,
And yeah, she hasn't done a ton. Um, but number one, she's solid. Like she's good in the Acolyte.
yeah.
I don't know that she has enough to really call her great in this particular movie in particular, like acting wise. But if you go watch Logan, she was really good in that.
Oh,
and and like now she looks like more of an adult. When she was in Logan, she definitely
Yes.
looked like 12, 13 years old. Here she looks 19, 20. You can see you know, she's gonna have a lot of doors open to her after this and after
Oh
the
yeah.
Acolyte. Um but yeah, talent, and she'll, you know, if she finds the right parts, you know, she's bilingual. She speaks like fluent Spanish. She's got a lot of doors open to her.
She's been in a few things, and then she was in his Dark Materials.
Oh, that's right.
She
Yeah,
plays
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah. She was the
yeah,
main character in that. I forgot
yeah.
about
So
that.
she's actually, and that was, I mean, that was 3 years
Yeah.
that she
Yeah.
was on that. So she's actually been working
Hmm.
steadily
Yeah, I forgot all
since
about that.
even before Logan. Actually, I'm looking at that. We're I mean, I'm kind of talking it out of my ass here. But she has, upcoming projects. This is two, something called Whistle and Night Comes. I'm just saying, remember the name Daphne Keene. She's Spanish and British.
Yeah, because
Daphne Keene
she
Fernandez.
when she speaks English off screen, she has the
Yeah.
British accent, and but she does a lot of interviews in Spanish.
Oh yeah. Well,
Uh,
no, that's her. She only spoke, was it Spanish
in Logan.
in
Yeah.
Logan, and she sounded to me like a native Spanish
Hmm.
speaker.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
I took it as such.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, she was. That's an actress to watch
Yeah.
for. I think we're going to see a lot from her, and I also think again, depending on how it works,
She might just be back. She might just be part of the
yeah,
MCU. Like she could easily be their Wolverine, which would be a very convenient way to not have to recast Hugh Jackman, right? You can have
yes,
your Wolverine without having to uh cast somebody else as Logan.
yeah. It's this movie for sure puts the stamp on Hugh Jackman as, I don't want to say iconic, but where it's a character now that when he was first cast, all of us were going, "What the fuck,
Hmm.
this guy?" And we were like, "No way!" And then in all the casting, that we all play with, like, who would you cast as Wolverine? Who are they going to cast as the new Wolverine? You're like, dude, honestly, I can't even see anyone
Yeah.
other than Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine at this point. Like
Yeah.
he's just done it that well. But so yeah, hijinks ensue. I mean, the big, I don't want to say a big moment for me, but there was one super fanboy moment that after the movie, Soph told me that when he reached back
Oh
and
yeah.
pulled the mask on, she said, "I looked over at you and you look like the happiest little 10-year-old boy." And I said, "Good," because I was.
Yep.
It was fine. Like, we finally got Wolverine in the mask, and it didn't look stupid.
No, no, it
You
looked
know,
right. Like, I mean, it's a little corny because it's a mask, like,
it is.
you know,
With
and
the fucking the like,
it,
what he even makes fun of. I forget what he calls them.
yeah,
When Deadpool calls them,
something
but
about something about blowjobs, like,
oh, blowjob handles.
yeah, something like
He
that.
called them
Yeah,
blowjob handles. Yeah. Um, that moment was so cool
yeah.
because, again, like with all those costumes that we saw earlier on, everybody, he hasn't, you go back and like you think back and you're like, oh shit, even when he has, they kept making the joke about him being in a costume
Hmm.
or a suit, and he has in all three of the other X-Men movies where he was like Wolverine in the X-Men. He doesn't in the Wolverine, but in this one it's the most Wolverine-y costume they
Oh,
have.
for
But
sure.
um he gets the mask on and he pulls it over and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like even if it does look kind of corny, I don't care, because this is like, they gave everybody, they said, okay, that's the end of all that other MCU stuff with the
hmm,
mutants, and here's your your adios to it, and we're going to give you with Wolverine because he's the most iconic character that we have out of this whole thing. We're going to give you every little piece of shit thing that you have ever wanted, nerd boys. Like, this is it. You can have it all. And they do.
yeah.
Even if it's just for a moment, you're like, oh, fuck, yes.
Well, and to be fair, like he keeps it on until it effectively gets like burnt off his body, for
Yes.
the next 15, 20 minutes. But when he pulls it on, that's when they're about to have the big Deadpool battle, which has a ton of cameos in it too.
Oh, so
Uh,
yeah, I did not realize. Yeah, so okay, to explain to the listener and viewer, there's they make the joke about it. I think it's Jennifer Garner makes
mhm,
a joke, or either it's Jennifer Garner or Nova, that there's apparently a shit ton of Deadpools in the
mhm.
Void variants. Go figure.
Yeah, right.
Um, and they have like a Deadpool core, which is something again from the
Yeah,
comics.
it's
Like
happened
every one
before
of
for
these
sure.
characters is a thing. Um, Lady Deadpool,
Was Blake Lively,
yep, hilarious. Cowboy Deadpool,
Matthew McConaughey,
Headpool.
Nathan Fillion.
Who was the other one?
Um, well, his kids, their daughter was Kidpool. Um,
That's oh wait, hold on. Is she? Yeah, Inez Reynolds. That's right.
yeah,
Um. Oh, and then yeah, and Baby Pool.
yeah. They use their baby as baby pool. I thought there was oh a cameo that actually got edited out. Rob McElhenney plays a TVA agent, but
Oh yes, I saw that.
yeah, he got edited out. But in the Deadpool, all the pools, there's a Deadpool with the Wrexham logo across his
I
chest.
saw that.
Yeah.
Yes. I like.
Um, so
Yeah, that was just awesome. Oh, again, going back to some, just like again because I knew we were going to tangent this. Going back because you're making me. I'm like as I'm looking through the IMDb, I'm remembering stuff about it. Um, when he's the TVA agent that's at the desk when Ryan Reynolds comes out of the costume and he's like
yeah,
looking at him and just that whole little thing and when he
yeah.
and the way he dives at him, that was hilarious, perfectly done. Um, yeah, when we finally find out, what Wolverine did in his timeline,
Hmm.
that makes him, not feel like he's gonna help Wade. See, this is the best part about this. Think about this. The plot was enough that I'm remembering it all as we're going through it,
Hmm.
but it's not enough that I actually care about it.
Right.
Like it's there, but it's a current. But yeah, it is all these jokes with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman and Hugh. There were sentimental moments in the movie,
Oh, for sure. For sure.
like randomly, like even more so than Deadpool 2. They had because he was always doing that, like Vanessa and him like just on the other side of the veil in heaven or whatever
Hmm.
that was.
Yep.
Um, in the second one, and I kept looking for it, but I haven't. And this is again why I wanna. There's got to be a joke in there somewhere, or some sort of a reference along the way to the fact that Deadpool was married to death. Because in the
I
comics, that was one of those
didn't
big
catch one.
storylines.
Yeah, I
I
didn't catch one, but
That's I just feel like with everything else they covered, there's one there somewhere, and I just missed it, and that's why I am waiting to watch it again because I feel like that's such a huge Deadpool storyline. Nice pool,
a nice pool, and of course dog pool. But nice pool was
dog
fucking
pool,
hilarious. And then when he uses him as a shield and realizes that he doesn't regenerate, he's just like, "Oh, bummer."
and then he forgets that all the others do regenerate.
But I love that nice pool is also Canadian. Like, oh,
Oh
sorry,
yeah,
sorry.
sorry. Oh, that was so
Uh,
funny. And it's just Ryan Reynolds in that ridiculous wig.
oh yeah, so great, so
And
great.
then I love that none of the Deadpools will fire at Wolverine when he's walking across the dog pool.
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh, puppy. La, 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 la.
and I love the way
And
he
then,
walks across too. He's just like mean mugging him as he fucking walks across.
in another amazing, amazing action sequence, like you said, Wolverine pulls on the mask and he and Deadpool slaughter different Deadpool variants en masse.
Yeah,
And then they all start to regenerate. It was crazy. It
yeah.
just
Because they effectively win, right? Like him and Wolverine take them out,
For all intents and purposes.
And then they turn around and they're regenerating. You're like, oh shit. And then who saves the day? But fucking Peter shows up in his Deadpool outfit, which doesn't fit.
Peter Pool.
Yeah. And they're just like, and they all love him. Like everybody has their Peter, and
we all have a Peter in our.
Yeah. And so they mob him, and so when they're mobbing him, that gives our Deadpool and
Logan,
a chance to
which
get away.
Is such a Deadpool thing to do. Like, how do we get out of this fight? Oh, something, like I said, something even more fucking ridiculous happens.
Yeah, they're God in the machine. They're Deus Ex Machina as Peter.
It's so funny. And so yeah, then they go off to fight Nova. And you know what? The whole matter antimatter thing.
It was dude. It was literally their excuse to get Hugh Jackman shirtless at the end.
Exactly. I was like, this is just the perfect MacGuffin for all sorts of little things.
Yeah, because once it's done, they wipe out Cassandra Nova. She doesn't matter anymore. They survive. They destroy this machine. Dude's in trouble. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode. Like they catch their bad guy at the end, and like it's funny and it's sweet. Like the whole moment when they come together. Like they when Deadpool pushes him out and closes the door, and he does a Spock thing on the door. I was like,
"Oh god, that is so funny!"
Like, "Fuck!" I know.
And he's doing the whole like,
yeah,
and then it's flying.
Yeah,
I was just like, "There's so many times in that movie. I swear to God, Hugh Jackman looks like he's almost about to break."
Yeah,
like they had, like you could tell, like we've shot this 15 times, and this is the best one we're getting.
Yeah, you just deal with it. This is what you get.
Yeah. It does, like, watching this movie, it's one of those movies where you're like, I would have loved to be on set.
Yes.
Like this would have been a fun movie set. Like sometimes you watch a TV show, or especially when you watch the bloopers and things like that, where you're like, this would have been a great show to be on. Like I would have loved to have been on set for The Office, or
for sure.
Fucking, Parks and Rec. Some of that you watch, like some of that is just so funny that those guys, same thing with this. I feel like this.
Oh, this is just fun. This is just fun. So yeah, so they go down there and they have to work together to save the day, right? Like you have this moment where it looks like they're going to lose, and then Wolverine shows up.
And that's the best part.
You know exactly what's going to happen.
Yes, and that was the other thing. You're just like, he's gonna roll up right at the last minute.
Yep.
Grabs our, stick his claws into it, like, and it was cheesy as balls, and I didn't care.
Well, because then his costume like burns off, and then you realize that yes, in fact, Hugh Jackman is in fucking ridiculous shape. But then like Deadpool like looks at his stomach and then looks at the camera, and he's just like it's just, I mean, it's so fucking funny. And then they win. Like she dies, they save the day, whatever. And then the gag at the end is they're like, "You want to go get shawarma?" And he's like, "I think the Avengers invented the shawarma." Like it's so.
In
so
true
funny.
Wolverine fashion, as he's like, "I'll see you later." He's like, "No, you won't."
Yeah.
And he walks away and he tosses the shawarma, just like,
yeah, just tosses it. And then
there was one. Oh no, there was one where he said, "Why do I feel like Pinocchio shoved his nose up my ass and started lying?" There's so many.
Yeah. And so so that's the end of the movie, right? And so when the credits start to roll, I knew there was a post-credit scene.
Yes.
They started showing the Fox stuff, and in my head, I was like, "Cool, that's the post-credit scene." Well, as it turns out, about halfway through the movie, I had to use the restroom, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to make it through this movie." So when the credits started to roll, dude, I thought I was going to die. Like I was at the point of like physical rupture.
Oh god!
And so I made it through the Fox stuff, and I was like, "Cool, I'm out." Went to the bathroom. My boys stayed behind. I went to the urinal and stood there like Tom Hanks style in A League of Their Own, right? Like I was there forever. I come back out and my kids are coming out, and while I was waiting for them to come, because I wasn't going to run all the way back down there and then see, like I looked it up, and there was a post-credit scene.
Yes.
And like I read what it was, and I was like, I'm okay not seeing it if I understand what it was. I will see it when it streams. Like but it
Yes,
doesn't break me that I didn't see it. But I'm glad my kids did.
it is. It is. So it's funny because he literally says word for word what
Yeah,
Ryan Reynolds told Nova that he said,
yeah.
and because we're all expecting Captain America, even though it winds up being Johnny Storm, to have Chris Evans sitting there
Just
saying this horrible, vile
yeah,
shit is so funny.
awesome.
Because if you really think about it, in I mean, not that he's like, that he doesn't work blue or something like this, but if you look at most of Chris Evans' roles, he doesn't curse a lot. The roles don't call for
That's
it.
true.
Like it's not there.
Yeah, even
So
in
he's
like
still
Knives Out when he was kind of a dick, like he doesn't swear a lot.
no. And there's other characters in that movie that are streaming f bombs. Um, but dude, just to hear some of the shit he says, it's so funny, and he delivers it in that accent in such a great way that you forget how good an actor Chris Evans
Hmm.
is. Like he's done a bunch of other stuff that's
Yeah,
actually really good. Like he's in that movie with the little with I think it's a little Fanning girl. I'm not sure like if she's a new Fanning or it's another chick, but she's super smart, and he's
yeah.
his sister dies, and so he's watching her now, and this whole thing. It's a fun movie. It's a custody movie kind of
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
Total tearjerker kind of bullshit. But yeah, he's actually a really good actor. Like
Yeah,
you said, Knives
yeah.
Out again, like perfect. He has some range. So like if you go back and look through the MCU and you look at all the main actors in the MCU, really, if we're going to talk about established, the only two that weren't already really established actors were Hemsworth and who were we just talking about?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Everybody else that was cast in a major role in the MCU was already a legitimate movie star. We knew who the Hemsworth boys were, but
Yeah,
they were
and
in
Chris Evans had been Johnny Storm, and he had done not another
not
teen
another teen
movie.
movie. Yeah. Like we knew him as Johnny Storm, but that movie at that point when they did Captain America, that movie was already like I think almost 10 years old at that point. I could be imagining that, but it was not. It
Yeah, it
was
wasn't new. I don't think Fantastic Four was. But not another teen movie might have been.
yeah.
Fantastic Four, I think, was probably what I'm finding out is like thinking back to when the MCU started and looking up movies because of this movie. Like I was looking up other things, other
Yeah.
references. Uh, Most things happened between like 2000 and 2008. It seems like they took place a lot before that, but like Blade
It
is the
really has it.
thing that
Yeah.
actually started it, and that I think was 99, and then everything was
Yeah.
kind of after that. So there was actually a good tight chunk of time where all this stuff happened pre MCU. It doesn't feel like it, and then you forget too that some of this stuff kept happening after the MCU started. So like
That's
the whole
right.
Fox X-Men movies,
Oh
those
yeah, yeah,
went
yeah, yeah.
well into the MCU. They were just not part of the
Oh
MCU.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
hell, Apocalypse actually was only like 2 or 3 years ago,
it wasn't long
or
ago, but it feels like a
at the
long
most
time
five.
ago.
Oh, it does. It feels like forever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um,
Anything pre-COVID feels like it was forever
that's
ago to
true.
me.
That's true. Um, but yeah, I think, looking at this movie, it was fun to walk out with my kids and be like, what did you guys think? My oldest he was like, it's a 10 out of 10 because I don't have a complaint. He's like, what?
Yeah,
He's like, I don't have a complaint about it. For me, I was like, at first I was like, I don't know. It wasn't really about anything. Maybe it's a 7 or an 8. Then I started to think about it really. And I was like, no, it's like an 8 or a 9. Like it's just,
yeah.
it was just fucking fun. It was so fun. And it was so everything it needed to be. It wasn't anything more. It doesn't, for as much hype as it had, like it felt like it was going to carry the weight of the rest of the MCU on its shoulders. And while there's things in there that can change the MCU, it doesn't have that load on its shoulders. And I think that's what's great.
That whole bit about the timelines stuff when he's like, "That's enough. It didn't work. We're done
Yeah.
with it." He's like,
Yeah.
"Let's just be done
Fuck
with the
it.
whole timelines
Yeah.
thing."
Yeah.
It's so I it's and this again, it's very Deadpool and meta, and hats off to Feige and Disney in general, actually, because Deadpool has fucked with the mouse in both of the first two movies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they made all sorts of fun of both Feige and Marvel, and like continue to in this one.
Yep.
And they said, no, this is what Deadpool is. This is what Deadpool does. So we're gonna let Deadpool be Deadpool and just roll with it because that's the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the smartest thing he could have done. Like it was the running joke about the cocaine, and I get that, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that probably is actually the only thing that he did say they couldn't do, because that is like so anti that Disney, like it
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, for sure.
um that they still, even in making fun of that, it still worked. And like Bob Iger watched this and was like, I don't get it,
Yeah,
but I
for
know it's
sure.
gonna make a lot of fucking money. There's no way Bob Iger sat through this movie and was like, well, that was fucking amazing. Like
Yeah,
he was like, this is for my kids, not
yeah,
me.
yeah.
You know?
Well, and what I really love is that the only reason we got this movie is because what 15 years ago now, Ryan Reynolds was like, I want to do a Deadpool movie. He wanted to be Deadpool, and they cast him in Deadpool and the Wolverine.
Yes.
Fucked that hard. Like they ruined that. And
I
so,
remember I remember the disgusted, visceral reaction I had
mhm,
when they were like, and now here's the Deadpool, and he walks out, and you're like, the
yeah,
fuck
you're
did
like,
you do to
what?
Wade?
Yeah, what did you do?
And then he's
And
got like the swords growing out of his hands. You're just like,
yeah,
what the fuck? And
yeah,
that's why,
like
again, in Deadpool 2, when he pops out, he just puts a bullet in his head. He's like, sorry,
yeah.
sorry about
It's
that.
like,
It's
meh.
me. It's Wade.
And then like, but Ryan Reynolds wanted to do it right, and he went out
Yeah.
and he had somebody write a script that he then leaked,
Yeah.
right? And like that started the like whole thing for it, and then they went and officially made it, and it blew up. And it's all like this, literally, like it's easy to forget that this is really all because Ryan Reynolds loved it. And so like, what was it? There was something that he paid the extra money to have people on set that weren't going to get, that they weren't going to be able to afford. So he paid out of his own pocket for the first one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
forget what it is, what roles they have. I'll try and look it up, but like he paid to have people on set. He paid the money to B. Arthur's family to wear the shirt. Like,
Yes, for the
uh,
clearance. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. And so like this for him was like his own love letter.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and now it's like this cultural like mega thing, right? Because there's a shitload of people that have no idea who Deadpool was, right? Even now, maybe going into this movie, there's a lot of people that maybe didn't know.
Oh, yeah, and you got to figure, just based on the numbers that this movie has already done compared to the other two, this movie's pulling in a lot of people who have no idea who Deadpool was,
Mhm.
or have just streamed the last two movies,
Yep.
or again, have their kids have turned them onto this because they've walked in and they're like, "The fuck are you watching?"
Yeah.
And you sit down for 10 minutes and you're like, "Oh my
You're
god,
laughing your ass, dude. The
this is the
lady
funniest
sitting
shit I've ever
next to me
seen."
when I sat down. So I sit down, and my kids all sit to my right. To my left, the lady sitting next to me, she had to be 65, and she was not with a kid. Like I was like, part of me wanted to lead and be like, "Are you lost? Like, why are you here?" But she was laughing, like she got it. Like she was laughing, she was having a good time. And I think that speaks volumes to what this movie is too. And it's fun to see that it's an action comedy. Like it's
It
not a
is.
drama. They don't waste
No.
time on drama. Like I get that Logan's history and why he's messed up is dark, but you can do that with an R-rated movie and still move back to the comedy
Exactly.
and help that stuff land the way that it should. So, um, yeah, I mean, your daughter, does she love it?
Oh, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
That's what she's ready to go again this week with her friend and her dad. Like she was absolutely hyped. Again, it worked I think also, and so Jen put this into the group chat where she was like,
Mhm.
do I have to see the other ones? And I was like, actually, no, you don't.
Yeah.
It's so much better if you understand who Deadpool is, though, going into this
Mhm.
movie. Like, I mean, anybody can enjoy it because it is just ridiculously funny,
Mhm.
but there's so much that you're lost on if you don't get the character because it's
Yeah.
very much like,
Well, and I think you get bonus points like in your head watching it when you know that Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman are like homies. Like they're
yes.
their best buddies, and I think that lends a lot to the movie too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, there's one point. Oh no, I love that when when in the van when Wolverine's smashing Deadpool's head into their stereo and it like changes the station and like the greatest
Yeah,
showman
yeah, yeah.
like starts playing and it's just like there's all sorts of just
It's just
little
yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah, it is a movie that will benefit from multiple watchings just because there's just
Oh
so
yeah.
much in there. So much in there.
This is so I feel like this was almost in a way everything that you wanted their Ready Player One movie to be.
Sure. Sure. That is actually a great
Like
comparison. Yeah.
completely meta, completely self-referential. It pulls in stuff from all over the place. Like there's, like you said, the Furiosa Mad Max shit. Like they take shots at fucking
Yeah.
everything
Yeah. Nothing is
in
off
this movie.
limits. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think this was also a very good movie, business and strategy wise, to have this as Marvel's summer release.
Yeah. In a year that they kept kind of down.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this was a big one because this was the nice way of saying, "Hey, we're still here.
Well,
We're still a mighty juggernaut."
we have said this 1,000 times over about DC. If they would just stop and take a break and level off and
Yeah,
rethink and then restart,
yeah,
DC would have been so much better off ages ago. And when Marvel started to hit their roadblock, now they got kind of an accidental benefit from the writer strikes where they kind of had to push everything back.
yeah.
And I think that forced them to slow down, but I think them slowing down was a good thing because now they're paring things back a little bit. I think the only other thing coming out this year is Agatha. That comes out in
Oh,
September, which I'm
that's
super stoked for. I think that looks
super excited for
great.
that. Oh my
Um,
god, that looks so good.
and then we're good until February, I think.
Mhm. I think so.
And so like it's a good time to take a rest. People were a little fatigued. I think the last Ant-Man movie wasn't necessarily great. I didn't hate it. To be fair, I don't hate any MCU movie.
Yeah.
But
I enjoyed the last Ant-Man movie, but I also understand people's
mhm,
complaints about it.
sure.
Like
And
I
I think the
get what
CGI
people
was
didn't
just
like.
too much. It was like they spent so much money on the budget on CGI, and the CGI was just too bright, too colorful. It was just, I was like,
Yeah.
it was too much. Um, and I think, yeah, this is the perfect summer fun movie to keep Marvel in everybody's minds while they take this little bit longer. And then next year we're gonna have Fantastic Four. The year after that we're gonna
Uh-huh.
have, well, fuck, Hall H.
The,
Okay,
well, no,
so.
so that's and no, and so that's exactly why I think dropping this movie this
Mhm.
weekend with the announcements that were made, it was it was the total shocker because it's like here's Deadpool, here's two in the pink, here's Hall H, one in your stink,
Yep.
because like what dropped at Hall H this weekend is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, because so to start with Hall H, when Hall H opened up on Saturday night, they talked Thunderbolts. No, no,
Yeah,
sorry, Thunderbolts wasn't first. What was first? Captain America: Brave New World was first. And I'm excited for that movie. I think what they are saying they're doing with that movie is smart. Like they're taking it back to the ground. They're going to deal with him not being a superhero, right? Like he's a hero, but he's not a superhero. He's got the shield, he's got the armor, he's got everything that he's got, but
yeah.
he's not super powered.
But let's be real with like he's going up again, and this is what I've always loved about the idea of Sam doing this. This is the same thing you love about Batman
Mm-hmm.
jumping into like higher level villains. For all intents and purposes, Sam's like a very well placed kick from one or two people away from being Rhodey.
Yep, for sure.
Like he's just a dude.
Yeah, and I think what they're doing with that one's going to be great. Um, Harrison Ford came out at the panel.
Yes.
He came out higher energy than I think I've ever fucking seen Harrison Ford. Like he was a little crazy and having a good time, and they're bringing back it's not the thinker. What's his name? The leader from Ed Norton's
Oh yeah,
Hulk.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's the
yeah, yeah.
leader. So they're doing some cool stuff with that one. So they bring that out and everybody's like, oh yay, Harrison Ford, Red Hulk, Captain
Right.
America, all this good stuff. Then they bring out the Thunderbolts, which was a hilarious panel because they introduce everybody and then they call David Harbour's name and he comes running through the audience with a microphone in full
I saw that,
costume. And he's like,
and he's like,
what the fuck? Everybody was supposed to be in costume. And like they have their fun moment. Um, and they go through and they
early
ask their
footage of the
questions.
film. Yeah, so
And
I mean, Bucky Barnes,
yeah,
Ghost is Hannah John Kamen, Florence Pugh as
she's so
Yelena.
fucking awesome.
Like, yeah. Um, I don't know much about the Thunderbolts, but to me, the Thunderbolts, just from what I'm seeing, is very much in a lot of ways almost like Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, if you will.
It's
Because you look at
similar
this
for sure.
cast.
And what's interesting about this one is that I don't know who the main villain of the Thunderbolts is, and I don't know if they've
Yeah.
said. Uh, but there's a character that is going to be introduced, played by Bill Pullman's son.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyways, he's going to be the Sentry, which is Marvel's Superman. Like
Yeah,
he's like
yeah,
legit,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
he was originally going to be played by dude
Henry
from
Cavill.
Walking Dead. No, by the dude from Walking Dead and Beef.
Martin Reedus?
No, the Asian
No.
guy. I love him.
Glenn.
Yeah, yeah, he was Glenn in Walking Dead. His real
Yeah.
name is completely escaping me, and I love him,
Yeah.
so I apologize. But he was going to be the Sentry, and then because the Thunderbolts got delayed so many times, he had to pass and move on to other things, and so they recast Bill Pullman's son, who has his own first name that I just can't remember for some reason, and he's going to be the Sentry. So like, there's interesting stuff happening in that movie, and of course when they go up there, they have a panel and they're like asking each of the actors, they're like, well, what do you think about this? And they're like, I can't fucking tell you anything. Like, there's
Yeah.
no point in having a panel with the actors because they're like, well, what do you think is going to happen? And they're like, yeah, I can't tell you.
You're like, do you
So
have any idea of the NDA that I had to sign to even
yeah,
audition for this role?
yeah. And so I found somebody. I found somebody that posted a clip of the entire Hall H, but it was only 45 minutes long. I know Hall H was longer than that. And
Yeah.
whoever posted it was smart enough to cut out the things that were for Hall H only. So they showed a clip from the Thunderbolts that's not on this guy's video. So I don't know what the scene was from the
That's
Thunderbolts, but there's a scene from the
yeah.
Thunderbolts
That's
that
what
they
they.
showed.
Let's
Um,
see.
and then when they were done with the Thunderbolts, they brought out the Fantastic Four, um, which
Yes.
is going to be great. They just started shooting that last last month. So like within the last little
Yeah.
bit, they've started shooting, and that releases next year. So they're pretty confident in what they're going to get done in this movie. Uh,
Yeah. I have a feeling they are very much going to be doing a Kevin Smith style as our footage gets shot. It's
we're
being
editing,
sent to
yeah.
Video Village. We're already editing it and starting our CGI as we go.
Hmm.
Because you got to think with the Fantastic Four, especially. I mean,
Well, especially with what they're doing with the location. It's 1960s, but it's a retro future 1960s.
future.
So
It's going to be very interesting because there's its
yeah,
own timeline. Then
yeah, for
how
sure.
is this going? Right, but which is cool. See, and I don't know. Did they give us much about the plot of this?
Nothing but
Um,
Galactus is in it. So somebody
okay,
did
cool.
leak like a 2-second clip that shows, like, you can see it there. They're like inside the Baxter building or whatever, and you see Galactus's face come across the window. So like Galactus is in this. Um, but other than that,
Okay, but if Galactus is in it, then do we also get a Silver Surfer? And they're just holding that back from us, and it's a minute. It's a and
No,
they're
as a matter
gonna
of fact, I think they cast a Silver Surfer, and I think it's the female Silver Surfer. I think that's no. I think that's known. Maybe it was a theory, but I think that's known.
the cast of Fantastic Four
Oh, I love the cast. Yeah.
is like, because because you got to look at Joseph Quinn
Yep. Eddie
as
Munson.
Johnny Storm.
Yep.
That's Eddie Munson. You got Evan Moss, Backrock, who is Richie.
Yep. Cousin
from
the Bear.
He's the Thing.
Yep.
Correct. Yeah. And then you've got Pedro Pascal, who is fucking
Everywhere. But he's going to be Reed Richards, which I think is cool. Vanessa Kirby is Sue Storm, and like she's great. She's an older Sue Storm, which I kind of like because I felt like Jessica Alba was a little young.
Especially, it felt creepy because you had Jessica Alba, who was very, very young looking, and you had what's his bucket? I forget.
Ian Griffith. Griffith or whatever. Yeah, I can't pronounce.
And they
his name
gave him the little white things on the side, and so I was like,
you're dating your grandpa. Like, so it was weird.
And they kind of fixed it with the other version. Which, I'm sorry, of the two Fantastic Four like iterations that we got, I'm a much bigger fan of the second one.
The newer one with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
The only problem I had was with the whole like other when they went back to the other.
Yes.
I guess when they kind of blew it.
When This Is How Doom got it like that, I was like, this was a script issue. I was like, this actually would have been a cool little cast to have. I'm like, because I love Miles Teller. We all love Miles Teller. Michael B. Jordan.
Yep.
But yeah,
that one was problematic.
But this cast looks really good.
Yeah, I'm excited for them. I'm excited to see what happens. I think when they were talking with Evan, or not, sorry, not Evan, cousin, when they're talking to, he said that he got a long letter from Mark Ruffalo about how to work with the CGI stuff because it's so new to him. Like he's never done it before. And so I was like, that's really cool. Like, it's cool to see them like passing the torch and helping each other out and doing stuff like that. So that's going to be really cool. And obviously there was some footage that we can't see because we weren't at Hall H, but they showed a little quick footage they have of that. And they took them off of stage, and then the Hall H goes black. So Hall H goes completely dark. And Feige's talking about, we're going to have the next Avengers movies. We had to find the right directors, and they bring out the fucking Russo brothers, and the place goes nuts, right? And then they talk for a minute about what the next story is going to be, and they put up the Avengers Secret Wars logo. And then you're like, oh shit, like these guys are directing like the big thing, right? They're directing the next one, and they announce it as 2027. So Avengers Secret War 2027. And they get up there and they start talking, and they're like, yeah, we thought we were done, but they hauled us in with this story that is the biggest story that Marvel's ever told, which is Secret Wars. And they talk for a few more minutes, and then they're like, but if you're going to have Secret Wars, you got to have one of the biggest villains in the MCU, that hasn't been introduced yet, blah, blah, blah. People are like, you hear the place is buzzing. Like people are like, whatever. And then they throw up the next, the Avengers movie that's going to come before Secret Wars.
Exactly.
And
Avengers,
it says Doomsday, and the place goes
and it's all in green because everybody knows what that means.
Yep. Doctor Doom.
Oh God. And then, as if they weren't done blowing their nut all over you.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they march out like this army of like Doctor Doom looking dudes, and they're like, we had to get the perfect actor, blah, blah, blah. We had to get the best actor in the world. And
you hear people in the video.
Yeah, you can hear them
like
buzzing.
All the Hollywood, you hear people going, "It's Robert Downey Jr. It's Robert Downey Jr."
Yeah.
And sure as shit,
he takes off the mask, and and the place just goes fucking wild. And like for me, like I know, like so, my youngest son, was Iron Man every single year for Halloween for like 10 years straight. Iron Man is his favorite character. I sat next to him in the theater when he watched Iron Man die and bawled his little eyes out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, like he loves Iron Man. I told him Robert Downey Jr. cast, and he was just like, no. He was like, no. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I get that apprehension, and I get that it feels, for some people, maybe it feels a little cheap, like it's a little like grabby, because now we got the Russos. Now we got the guy that wrote Infinity Game and Infinity and Endgame, and now we got Robert Downey Jr. back. But like, knowing the comics, knowing that Tony Stark has actually become Doctor Doom in the comics,
In several times,
yeah, like
actually, in a couple, like
it totally
several twice, I
works.
think. Yeah,
It totally works, and
it
he will
does.
be great as a bad guy, because he was always a good guy, even when he was a little questionable as like early Tony Stark, and he was a little shady.
Yeah,
He wasn't bad.
no,
But Doom and Tony Stark aren't wildly different characters. Like, they
no,
are geniuses, they are powerful, and they want the world to be a better place. It's just, you know, Doom wants it to be, a better place under his eye, right? Like,
and I'm
he's
curious because I don't remember if in if Latveria has ever been mentioned in the MCU yet.
I don't think it has. I think it's
So
been
now,
hinted at, but the term, like, I don't think anybody ever said Latveria.
yeah, I feel like it was like a throwaway thing where it was like on a map or
Something,
something
yeah.
once, like in like in Age of Ultron, there was like a
Hmm.
map or something, and like they were looking at a country and they like showed it there. I think it was something like that.
Yeah,
Like, when it was, um, I love it. I love the idea. I don't think it's
yeah.
cash grabby at all. Because I want to see him do something else in the
Hmm.
MCU. Because let's be real, actually, no, I really can't think of any of I mean, well, obviously, other than fucking Rhodey, any of the characters who have been cast the way they are, that could be anybody else. And no, I say that, yeah, actually, because Don Cheadle, I think that was perfect. I would have liked
Hmm.
to have seen what What's His Bucket, did with it, maybe in
Taryn,
out,
yeah,
did with it. But I think Don Cheadle actually was a better choice in the first.
yeah,
Should have
for
been
sure.
the choice in the first place. When you watch him interact with Tony in Iron Man 2, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
duh,
yeah.
like, um. So I think that one of the biggest things that Marvel is really, really good at is getting the right casting.
Mhm. For sure. And I
Um,
think he, like, if you think it's a cash grab, you really have to put that back into your mind. Like, they really haven't blown a casting.
mm-mm.
I mean, except maybe in the early time when Edward Norton was not the right guy for the MCU. I actually liked Edward Norton as Banner, and I liked him as the Hulk. I don't like him
Yes.
as the MCU's Banner and Hulk.
No.
Um,
He wouldn't have worked. Mark Ruffalo, and for like, I mean, this goes to that whole argument, like when everybody's like, which Joker is the best Joker? Everything, I'm like, well, you
yeah,
really
what
can't
what story are you
quantify that as the
telling?
best
Yeah,
joke. Exactly, because I'm like, yes, the Heath Ledger Joker, that's an amazing performance. He's amazing, but if you stick him in the Tim Burton,
yeah, he doesn't work.
Batman versus, he doesn't work. Just the same way as if you stick Jack Nicholson in The Dark Knight Return.
Yeah,
It just
yeah,
doesn't make sense. So I think for like this iteration, Mark Ruffalo was the guy.
yeah,
Edward
yeah.
Norton, you're right. Edward Norton would not, like, it just wouldn't, it would be weird because
And
he's too
he's in it, and he's
Edward
Edward
Norton
Norton. Like, I think as an actor, I don't think he would have meshed with the overall, like, cast of
vibe.
people. Like, he wouldn't be in the Avengers text chain, right? Like, he just wouldn't,
No, it
you
wouldn't be
know.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, like I said, I actually didn't hate what he did in his movie.
No, I
I
didn't
thought
hate
he
that
was
movie
a
at all.
I thought he was a great banner and all that, but he doesn't fit. And so, you just in general, and same with Terrence Howard. Like, I actually didn't dislike Terrence Howard's roadie,
Nope.
um, but he wasn't a cultural fit, and so he left. They brought in Don Cheadle, perfect fit, and he's been great ever
Yeah.
since. And so, they don't miscast, and so I think using Robert Downey Jr., they're gonna make it work. And you've got the best fucking dudes doing it. Like, that's what it
Yes.
comes down to. You've got the best guys in the business doing it. I think he was flaming out. I think he was feeling it,
Recovering from
and that's
Doolittle.
well, that's why, like, when he finished with Endgame, he was like, "I'm done." He's like, "I'm good. I don't need to do it
Yeah.
anymore." Then he went out and did Oppenheimer. He won his Oscar, and then he was like, cool. Now I've done the thing that everybody spends their entire career doing. He's
Yeah.
like, maybe I want to go have fun again, So,
Yeah. Well,
and I
and that's
think,
that's I think that's also one of the other things. Obviously, we don't know how their deals are structured, but I think that's one of the other things that every one of these actors who has gotten involved in this has been blessed with is that they're pretty much more or less, if you're a lead role, you're more or less kind of set for life at this point with
Mhm,
your residuals that you should be getting.
yeah,
Like I said, unless you've got like a horrible deal, every one of these people should be like, oh no, I'll take points, please.
right.
They're not hurt, with the licensing and everything else. Because again, to bring it back to Deadpool, you can't think of another voice.
No,
Like,
no.
it actually kind of, although it's enjoyable to watch, when I watched the Deadpool in the cartoons, it's kind of a nasally voice like this the way he
Mhm.
talks, and it's
It
kind of
was it was somebody specific and talented too. I forget who it was.
but
But
it
it's
takes me out of it because Ryan Reynolds now is the
is
voice of
Deadpool, yeah.
Deadpool. And had Ryan Reynolds not done the voice of Deadpool, I would not have cared that it sounds so different.
Right. Right.
It's like with the Joker voiceover stuff,
Yeah, if
where
it's
you're
not
just
Mark
like,
Hamill, then who is it?
well,
You
you
know what I mean?
just get Mark Hamill to do it for any cartoon, any video game. Just let Mark Hamill do it.
That's why when they did he quit the Arkham game. So he didn't do the last Arkham game and Troy Baker took over and he did a it wasn't intended to be an impersonation of Mark Hamill, but it sounds almost exactly the same. And so it doesn't take you out as far as it
That's
would if
smart.
he had done something totally
That's
different.
incredibly fucking smart.
Yeah.
That's great direction. That's great voice direction there, where you say, no, 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 no,
Yeah.
do an imitation without doing an imitation.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
don't play. But yeah, so God, Fantastic Four, you got that Doom announcement was
That was awesome. That was awesome. And like I had heard the buzz about it for a while, and maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, whatever. But to see it officially announced and to see the Russos officially announced, I mean that could have been Hall H right there. They could have been like, "Hey, we're going to do Thunderbolts. Hey, we're going to do Fantastic Four. Hey, we're going to do Captain America." And I'd be like, "Cool, cool, cool." And then if they could have dedicated another 45 minutes to just the Russos and Robert Downey Jr., I'd have been like, "You got me."
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I personally stoked for the future of the MCU right now.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and I'm also excited to see what the DC for the first time in a long time. I'm excited to see what DC does under James Gunn.
So am I. I actually think I will be excited to see the new Superman
Oh,
and the way they do
I'm
it.
really excited. He has a love and respect for the characters and an understanding of what he can and can't do. Like if you watch The Peacemaker, that's not for everyone. I get it,
No.
but it's a fantastic show. Like I
Oh,
loved The Peacemaker.
I think I threw it in group chat the other day because somebody asked something about DCEU and its properties, and they were like, I think Andy said something about it. Oh, this was the best DC. And I was like, no, I feel like the only, like, if you're talking the best thing to come out of the DCEU, that entire series was the Peacemaker, and
Hmm.
like you said, and that was James Gunn's basically his audition piece
Yeah, for sure.
for DC. Did Craven come out yet,
No,
or was
dude,
that
I don't even know if it's coming out. I thought it
because
was now that you say that, dude, I thought it was last year.
yeah, because all of a sudden I was like, what other things did I look at and knew I was going to be disappointed by?
No, it got pushed back, and I don't even know if it has a release date anymore.
Because it's tough because I like him and he
Hmm.
was great as oh, okay, it's completed, it's expected for December
Sure, sure it is.
is when they're saying expected December 13th.
Sure it is.
I just I don't
The whole Sony villain verse thing. Did you see Madam Web?
no, I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother. I read the Madam Web
I
backstory. It was the first. It's honestly the first time that I have completely trusted critics, and everyone else has echoed the same sentiment. That I was just like, okay, yeah, you know what? I saw Mobius, and everybody was fucking right about that.
yeah.
Um, I'm like, this just does not seem. And then I heard her talking about it afterwards, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
you
she
have
didn't give
someone
a
playing
shit.
the main character who has no idea what this is. You have to have someone
Yeah.
who cares about that?
Yeah.
Like, that's why, again, a completely other different thing. It's like why Peter Jackson was the perfect person to
Oh,
do
yes.
all the Lord of the Rings films,
Yes.
because that guy lived and breathed Middle Earth for
Yeah.
his entire life.
That's
Like,
that's
he was a
that's why
fucking
Feige is perfect for Marvel. Like he knows this stuff inside and out.
yes,
And that's why it works. And I think um I don't know if Gunn knows DC inside and out, but he at least cares that much. And
yes.
that's a big deal. I think I'm excited to see what he puts out.
Well,
Um,
I think they've given Gunn clear direction in basically in like, we want you to be our Feige. You don't have to be
mhm,
Kevin Feige, but we want you to build us a universe. We have
mhm,
the most, because let's be real, up until the MCU started, Batman, Superman,
yep,
Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man.
yep.
Marvel had one of the foremost recognized
And
superheroes.
Marvel didn't
Yeah,
even have it. It was Sony.
exactly. Everybody, yeah, people knew Iron Man, people knew Thor. You know, there were these comics, this and that. People knew, but they weren't like part of the zeitgeist. You throw a picture, you throw the S up on a wall, everyone's like, "Oh, Superman!"
Yeah,
Like, you just know what that is. And for years, they just bungled it at every stop. Anyway,
yeah,
back to Hall H, um, or just other announcements. Like, I don't think and even if there was something big at Hall H, I think the Marvel announcements just kind of.
yeah. The only other
Uh,
things I saw, I know there's a couple things going on in the Star Trek universe over on Paramount Plus.
oh,
Um,
what's going on there?
they're doing a Section 31. I don't know if it's a movie or series, but they're finally doing that. The Starfleet Academy show is coming out. Um,
Is that
which
a cartoon?
no,
Was that
it's a
going to be a cartoon? No.
live action like at the Academy. I'm actually really curious about that one. And then they talked the final season of Lower Decks and the next season of Strange New Worlds.
Okay, so we are getting another Strange New Worlds. Thank
Hmm.
God. Um,
And did you watch Lower Decks?
I've watched a couple episodes of Lower Deck. That's another
It's
one that I want
so
to sit
fun.
down and watch. It's not only smart and funny, but it's firmly entrenched in the Star Trek world, and it still
Yes.
has that, like. But see, I also, though, I recently got done watching. I did a whole rewatch of the Orville
Mm,
because that was randomly on, and that's another one that I'm like, everybody needs to watch that, especially if you're a Star Trek fan,
yeah. Yeah. It's
because
like
it's
Galaxy Quest almost, like
yeah,
it's an homage that works.
it is, and it's clearly an homage, but it's also, I mean, it's clearly Seth MacFarlane. It's
Yeah.
clearly Seth MacFarlane, but it's not the Family Guy. And
Right.
I think the problem was a lot of people didn't want to get on board with that show because
They
they
thought it
kept
was the
waiting,
Family Guy.
and it
Yeah.
wasn't. It
Yeah.
wasn't even close to the Family Guy. You know, especially if you look, like, the first few episodes are a little bit more, you're kind of like, you know, like the interaction between him and him and Adrian Palicki as his ex-wife and
Yeah.
everything else. It was kind of irksome at times where you're just like, I just don't give a shit because I don't buy that you were ever married to her in the first place. Like, I'm sorry, that always kind of took me out of it. And it's not even like a physical attractiveness level, like just the two characters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess that was part of the, you know, part of the whole idea behind them being married. But you look at them and you're like, you two never would have gotten married in the first place. Like, there's just no way that ever would have happened. Um, but yeah, the Orville was great. I'm excited then about. I love that. Strange New Worlds or Brave New Worlds is there's Strange New Worlds. Yeah,
Strange Worlds. Yeah.
is going to be that Academy. That sounds good. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I think that'll be interesting.
You know,
As long as it's not corny, which I don't think. I think at this point, I think um, that Paramount Plus has figured out Star Trek at this point. I think they're making good content.
oh, Strange New
Eh,
Worlds proves it.
Yeah,
Like,
Strange New Worlds is fucking great. Um, because it's
Picard.
classic Star Trek, but it's new. Like
Yeah,
it's different than Discovery was, and Discovery wasn't bad. It lost its way a little bit, but Discovery
that's
wasn't
yeah.
bad. Um,
Discovery wasn't bad.
but
The
Strange New
one, what
Worlds
is it?
is Star
Enterprise with
Trek.
Scott Bakula. Ugh.
Oh no, no, I didn't
And
get
I had
past the
such
theme
hope for that
song on
because
that
I
one.
like Scott Bakula. The themes. Yeah, well, the fact that it had a theme song.
Yes, yes, I remember I turned it on and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah,
I was like, "I
like
can't do this." It's
no,
like-
Strange New Worlds. I'm so excited for that. I love that cast. I love how it feels like old Star Trek, like you said, but like with a much more modern sensibility.
Mhm.
But it still looks like old Star Trek in a
Yep,
weird way.
yep.
Like they still, um so that yeah, that one that's a good one. Anything else fun? Did DC even make any announcements?
I don't think they had a presence. I think they were skipping. They might have said something about Superman, but I don't think they had a Hall H presence. I think the Transformers One movie had a an appearance, um, but otherwise, I think that's about it. And I'll end up seeing Transformers One. My youngest is a huge Transformers fan, and
Same. I won't
so
see it in the theater. I'll watch it just because like it looks interesting because it looks like it's supposed to be a little closer to old like Gen 1
mhm.
Transformers. But the clip that they like the preview that they showed, I was like,
Yeah,
"Ooh,
I'm not sold on it
wait."
yet, but if my son says he wants to see it, I'm just going to take him to see it. Like it's an excuse to go to the movies. And so I'll probably see it in the theater. Uh, but it's got a great cast, so that there's some promise to it. It's an interesting story for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that one. But otherwise, yeah, I don't remember seeing much else from San Diego Comic
There's
Con.
not. I'm reading it. So they've just released the DC Studios logo.
Yes,
What
which
the new
is
DC
literally the
Studios
DC
logo,
logo and
which
says studios underneath. I was like, some
exactly,
genius got paid for
and they have
that.
like silhouettes of the Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman on either side of it. Superman and Lois season 4 trailer
Oh, that show's fantastic.
that hints at a mutated Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday looks super badass.
Season 5 of Harley Quinn.
Hmm.
If you haven't watched any of the Harley Quinn cartoon, it's fucking hilarious. Oh, and then there's gonna be My Adventure with Superman. Have you ever seen
I
any of that? It's
tried
like an
that. I
anime kind of
didn't. I couldn't get into it. I tried it, but
where
I
they're
couldn't.
Superboy is gonna be on there.
Hmm.
Looks like there's going to be Batman Cape Crusader.
Yep.
The animated series is going to have the Penguin's going
A
to be a
female
woman.
penguin. Yeah. Voiced by Minnie Driver.
Mini Driver. Yeah, that which looks good. That's another one of those where I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That I'm sure somewhere there's some fucking incel freaking out about the fact that
Oh
Penguin's
yeah.
now a woman.
100%. 100%.
Or I'm just like, it's a Creature Commandos.
Yep.
Which is supposed to be is a DC property, is going to be an animated thing. And apparently, okay, so the news from that is the Suicide Squad is no longer in the DC universe, based on this Creature Commandos thing. I don't know what that means exactly. Well, no, I guess that's basically saying that other than the Penguin, which was pre James Gunn, none of this other shit means dick anymore.
Hmm.
Because the Penguin will be out. Oh, this is a good announcement. So the Batman 2 starts filming in early 2025, but Colin Farrell's Penguin is confirmed to return in the Batman 2.
Yeah. So nothing earth shattering there.
Yeah,
Um,
which is probably smart. They
yeah.
probably knew, like, they're not like, they've got nothing real to announce at this point.
Yep. Yep. And they want to start slow. I think they actually have a lot going on because they have Supergirl.
Yep.
They're going to be working on Green Lantern series, which I think Nathan Fillion's going to carry over his Guy Gardner role from Superman.
Yes.
And I thought there was one other thing that is like notably in production, but I can't remember what it is. Um, but they're starting slow. I almost wish they didn't start with Superman right away, but I get they kind of have to. I mean, Superman is the like the feather in the cap, right? Um,
And because we
and
already have a Batman.
yeah,
That they're going to continue. What I'm going to be interested to see though is if James Gunn is going to make it a cohesive universe, or if he's just going to say, no, this is the Superman universe, and in this universe with these Superman films, Batman looks like this character and is played by this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go ahead, like, we can have fucking, Robert Pattinson as, Batman in this one, but it's not the same one for my movie.
Yeah.
Um,
I hope they don't. I mean, they if you're gonna do Superman and Batman and you're gonna make the movies at the same time, they have to have the opportunity to cross over. They don't necessarily have to cross over, but I think they have to have the opportunity.
in both the comics and in any of the animated series, Batman and Superman's interactions are always hilarious because you've got brooding dark Batman
Mm-hmm.
and the Boy Scout and Superman.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll give it time and see what they do, because I know, at least for now, the Pattinson's Batman isn't part of the DC universe.
Yeah.
Like, he's his own things. I don't know what they'll do with that. It'll be interesting. It'll just be interesting. So, yeah, they gotta work on all that good stuff.
Oh, that's the other thing that DC has coming out, though, is fucking Joker Menage a Trois, which looks
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, Folie à Deux.
Yeah, Folie à Deux, excuse me.
I'm curious about it for sure.
Very. Because
Yeah.
again, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is amazing.
Oh, so great. And to be honest,
But-
in that universe they've created, I actually like Gaga as Harley Quinn. It's a different Harley
It's
Quinn.
a great
so,
idea.
Yeah.
The thing, though, is I look at that Joker verse, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that there's any superheroes in it.
No,
I don't want to see Batman come and kick the Joker's ass. Like, give me one more Joker movie and do something with him. But I want to see the Joker just live with Harley Quinn in their own little thing and let him get taken down by regular cops.
Yeah.
Because he's so not the
megalomaniacal.
Joker
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just a crazy guy right now. Like, he's not that guy yet.
Unless that's what they're planning for, what like the Joker 3 / the third Batman Robert Pattinson movie, because that Pattinson Batman movie was incredibly noir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't necessarily fit in that whole 80s vibe, but it was, and I do like, the one thing I loved about the Pattinson one was it was the first time that we got to see him as the world's greatest detective.
Yes.
He wasn't just a rich dude with gadgets that kicks people's asses.
Yep. Yeah, that's a big deal. That always gets overlooked.
Yeah, I got nothing else. I've completely spent my load.
We've talked about all of it, man. So yeah,
somehow, of course, I'm on the show. We talk about fixing the DCEU.
Why wouldn't we?
It always comes back.
Why wouldn't we? Those dumb bastards over there just can't get it right. What is it? Those dumb fucks down the street just can't. So
yeah, no, I am, though. Last thing I will say, and I've said it like 4 times now already, I know, but I am actually kind of filled with some hope with James Gunn. I'm very interested to see what he does, because I think he gets what Marvel did.
Yep.
And you're not going to recreate. You know what? I'm going to shut up because we have to end this because it's very late for you. And this is something, of course, we could talk about. And we have listeners and watchers and viewers. Go back to episodes 14.
Yeah, I could probably go back and find a laundry list of them.
There are several episodes where this is highlighted in.
Yes.
But yeah.
Cool.
It's been fun. Hopefully I'll be able to do this more often.
Yeah. We're usually on Saturday nights. This was a fluke night. But yeah, if you can make it, let me know and we'll get you on. There's always room.
Sure.
There's always shit to watch.
There's always shit to watch.
So cool. Well, with that, I will say to everybody at home, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next week when I think Andrew's back. Maybe, I don't know. He's got a girlfriend.
He's got a girlfriend now.
Gross.
I know. Doesn't it feel like, even in the group chat sometimes, it feels like Andrew's got this girlfriend now, and he just like doesn't want to play with her. He's like, he comes home to the Bay Area all the time where he lives.
Yeah, and he doesn't visit anybody.
Once told me
what a dick.
that he's coming.
What a dick. We'll call him out here on the show, and if he watches the episode, then he'll know that he's
gonna
making
watch
mistakes
this about Deadpool. I know. Even this one he'll watch.
Yeah. So.
I know I will. I love you, Andrew. I miss you.
Yeah.
I miss our secret cuddle time.
Yeah. Behind the bleachers. Yeah. All right. Anyways, everybody have a good week.